The detailed how to play it today breakdown is linked in the description on theircheck.com. For 4X4 EVO 2, that matters more than usual because the real answer is not buy this version. It is only chase this if you already know why you want it, because most modern players should probably skip it. The reason to care about 4X4 EVO 2 today is pretty specific. It is an early 2000s off-road racing game built around licensed trucks, career progression, vehicle upgrades, and wide dirt courses that feel more like messy terrain challenges than clean arcade tracks. If that sounds appealing, there is still something here. Not polish, not convenience, more like a very particular kind of truck tuning, trail fighting curiosity that mainstream racing games rarely aim for now. But that appeal is narrow for a first-time player in 2026. The biggest problem is not that 4X4 EVO 2 is old. Plenty of old racing games are easy to recommend. The problem is that this one asks for a lot before it gives much back. Legal access is awkward. The PC version can involve setup friction. The console versions mean original discs and legacy hardware. And once you're actually playing, you still have to deal with stiff handling, rough collision behavior, awkward camera issues, and a general lack of modern smoothness. So the recommendation is pretty blunt. 4X4 EVO 2 is hard to recommend for most players today. It makes sense for enthusiasts who want an off-road relic with licensed trucks and don't mind troubleshooting. It makes sense if you already own a copy, already have the hardware. It makes sense if your interest is historical, mechanical, or very specifically, I want this kind of early 2000s 4X4 game. If you are just retro curious and looking for a satisfying racing game to start tonight, this is not the one I would put in your hands first. Now, legally playing it today is where things get messy. There is no clean, clearly verified official digital version to recommend as the normal route. No current remake, remaster, collection, or subscription release was confirmed in the dossier. So the safest legal answer is old-fashioned, use an original physical copy on hardware you can legally play it on. For low friction, that usually points toward a console copy if you already have the machine. Original Xbox is one practical route, especially if you already have the setup. GameCube and PlayStation 2 versions exist too, but neither becomes an obvious best for everyone answer. They are more like viable legacy options if you already live in that ecosystem. The PC version is the enthusiast route. It matters because it is where community fixes, patches, custom content, and modern setup discussion tend to concentrate. But that does not make it the easiest legal recommendation. You still need a legal copy, and you should not treat random full game downloads as the answer. If the path starts with a dubious download mirror, that is not a recommendation. That is a warning sign. So what is the best version for most people? Honestly, there is no good mainstream option. If you already own legacy console hardware, a physical console copy is the least fussy way to experience the game as a normal player. If you are committed to PC, the Windows version is the more flexible and enthusiast-friendly choice, but it comes with setup baggage. That is the trade-off. Console is simpler, but locked to old hardware. PC is more adaptable, but more fragile. Neither is the clean, modern answer. Before starting, understand that setup is the real first boss. Do not approach the PC version expecting a frictionless install and play experience. Community projects and fixes exist because players have had to smooth over compatibility problems, display issues, and other modern PC rough edges. They may be useful, but they are not the same thing as an official modern release. Treat them as enthusiast tools, not as a storefront. Once you are in the game, don't expect a modern racing feel. Give the handling time. Expect some awkwardness in camera behavior and collisions. Think of the career mode less as a slick campaign and more as a vehicle building loop wrapped around off-road events and missions. The fun, if it clicks, comes from wrestling old trucks through rough spaces and slowly building something better. That is also why a full walkthrough is not the main thing you need. The useful help is setup guidance first, then a short explanation of how to approach the career without assuming modern racing game comfort. The final call is simple. 4X4 EVO 2 is interesting but not broadly recommendable. Play it if you have the legal copy, the hardware, the patience, and a specific appetite for early 2000s off-road racing. Otherwise, don't force it. This is one of those games where the most useful recommendation is not you missed a classic. It is know exactly what you are signing up for before you start.